produced free love, drugs, and the countercultural lifestyle of the hippies. It also produced what the FBI called the spree killer, a person who killed multiple victims over a brief period of time. In 1969, a gruesome spree killing took place in California. Among the victims was actress Sharon Tate.
In a scene described by one investigator as reminiscent of a weird religious rite, 5 persons, including actress Sharon Tate, were found dead at the home of Miss Tate and her husband, screen director Roman Polanski.
Just after midnight, 4 members of a cult headed by Charles Manson broke into the 26-year-old actress's house. Wielding knives and pistols, the intruders savagely killed Sharon Tate and 4 others.
When police arrived, they found the telephones and electricity lines cut. The bodies had been dead about 12 hours. They were discovered this morning by a maid who ran screaming to neighbors.
It was a crime scene from hell. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before, not just in Beverly Hills, but anywhere.
Jay Sebring, a Hollywood hairstylist, was shot and then stabbed several times. Abigail Folger, heiress to the Folger coffee fortune, was stabbed 28 times. Wojciech Frykowski, a Polish film director, was stabbed 51 times and shot twice. Sharon Tate, who was 8.5 months pregnant, reportedly pled for her baby's life before she was stabbed 16 times and left hanging by a rope.
It's like a car accident on the side of the road. People could not look away. They had to know. How many times was Wojciech Frykowski stabbed? Was there a rope around Sharon's neck?
The next night, in a different neighborhood, the killer struck again, savagely murdering Leno and Rosemary LaBianca.
What the 60s did is start to lower the bar on what bothered us. We were going through the culture of Vietnam. It was the first time in history that we could see live war. We could see people die. We could see the blood on television. We had this vicarious hunger that was developing that we just couldn't feed it enough facts and enough gore, unfortunately.
Sharon Tate's husband, Roman Polanski, who was working on a film in London at the time, rushed home immediately.
The house is open now. You will see the baby clothes. You will see the room which he was painting. You will see a lot of blood.
Police arrested Charles Manson, a drifter, and 4 of his followers for the Tate killings.
Never before had the public's eye been so focused on a killer, because they wanted to know what kind of people could possibly have done something like that.
The judge made a fool of himself, again. And then he questions my sanity.
Are you sane?
I question him, huh?
Are you sane?
Sane?
Yes.
That's relative.
The prosecutor said that Manson had sent members of his so-called family to kill the occupants of Tate's house in order to spark a black-white race war that Manson called helter-skelter.
He had an obsession with helter-skelter. He constantly predicted that helter-skelter was coming down, meaning that the black man was going to rise up against the white establishment and murder the entire white race, with the exception of him and his followers, who intended, of course, to escape from helter-skelter by going to the desert.
As Manson and his followers went on trial, the media began to focus on Sharon Tate and her friends.
The press began to talk about the victim's lifestyle, the swinging 60s lifestyle that these people led might have brought about their own deaths.
In 1978, I asked Roman Polanski about those reports.
The articles that appeared after that tragedy were so abominable.
There were so many stories about kinky sex and about drug taking and about self-indulgence and about... What kind of a life did you people lead? Was there any...
Well, you look, Mike, I'm not criticizing you for it. You try to make put your questions the way that the audience will for a moment stop eating and start listening to you. And what will remain in their mind is this headline that you just said and quoted, and the headline that I have read many, many times, and not what I'm going to answer to you. Because if I tell you that we lived quietly, that we had quiet evenings and listened to the music, that Sharon was a lovely cook, it will all seem like alibying. and will serve no purpose.
No, it
because
won't.
the very fact that you have to ask these questions puts me already in bad light.
You were reported to be willing to pay top dollar to have Charles Manson killed. I want him dead, you are reported to have said. Untrue?
When the whole tragedy happened, I was running and trying to help the police and doing all kinds of things to find those culprits. There was this irrational anger. If I could have them, I would kill them. But when they were found, I just felt no belligerence towards them. I just felt nothing. I just don't want to have anything to do with them. I don't care what happens to them. That's not going to change anything. She's gone.
Whatever the lifestyle of Sharon Tate and her friends, it paled in comparison to what was happening at Manson's trial.
The Manson trial was a complete circus. His followers were out on the sidewalk.
We cut our hair, we did it together. Everything we do together.
Do it as a protest.
Young girls with shaved heads and crosses carved into their foreheads, sitting in a circle on the sidewalk, chanting and praying for Charlie.
With the jury out of the room during an argument over who would testify, Manson said he wanted to tell his story.
Manson said, "I've killed no one, and I've ordered no one to be killed." Looking at the jammed courtroom, he spoke of love and his communal family, and once said, "If I could get angry at you, I would try to kill every one of you. If that's guilt, I accept it." But in mid-afternoon, when Judge Charles Older asked if he wanted to testify in front of the jury, he declined. So did the three other defendants. And without presenting any witnesses, the defense in the Charles Manson trial has skidded to a stunning conclusion.
The jury convicted all four defendants, who were sentenced to death. In 1972, though, the California Supreme Court declared the death penalty unconstitutional, and their sentences were commuted to life in prison. Over the years, some of the defendants applied and were turned down for parole, blaming Manson for taking over their personalities.
I did not want to do what I was doing. I seemed like I was controlled by another power. Matter of fact, when I went into the house and committed the crime and began to commit the crime, I told the victims that I was the devil and that I was here to do the devil's work.
28 years after the Manson spree, another spree killer went on a rampage, murdering